I'm back at Jupiter Comedy for week number 17 of 260 minutes. Before I get too far into this, I just want to point out, for the record, I am the one holding the camera. Two people this week have asked if I just hired the world's worst cameraman to film these things. No, it's myself. It's a little bit tricky. But tonight is exciting for me. I'm finally getting to something I've been planning for the last 4 or 5 weeks. As part of this project, I wanted to do a rant about my bank and in general banking across the board. And tonight's the night. I finally figured it out. There's 3 beats in it that I'm very excited about. If they don't go well, I think I'm going to have a hard time hiding my disappointment. This is the most interesting mic situation I've ever seen. The jokes cannot be funny with this tangledness. I'll fix this. Hello, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for coming out. And I do mean that sincerely. And you can tell that because if I was lying to you, you'd know. Like, I cannot hide that disdain. I found that out today at an audition that I was at. No, I did. It wasn't even like it was like a voice audition. They Velcroed this to the thing. Who was stealing this mic? They needed it. Okay. It was at this voice audition, which always sucks because they're not even rejecting you based on your looks, which is something that I would prefer. You know, like I've been rejected based on my looks before, but oh, today I just didn't sound cheery enough for Cal Tire. Like, fuck, really? And I knew I was dead the second I read the brief on the role, because it was like, we need something that's warm and friendly. I'm like, oh, fuck. It's gonna be a long day. So finally, it gets to that point, and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, can you take out some of the sarcasm? And I was like, have a good afternoon, and walked out of the booth. This just wasn't gonna happen. I had a shower and lie afterwards. This is like soul-sucking experience. Like, oh really? Just being friendly will sell you tires? Okay. Worth a shot. Seriously, twice Velcroed. Alright. Today I'm actually wanting to rant a little bit about my bank, but I've been researching a lot into like what they can sue me over. Because I'm sure that their lawyers are better than my no lawyers. And I'm a little bit worried about that kind of going down that way. So I'm not going to mention them by name, I think that's fair. But they have recently introduced this new thing in Calgary called a no fee for me account. So probably many of you know it. I have this account. I think I realized that I would rather pay a fee than be treated like a criminal every time I walk into the place. They're just so aggressive to me. They're putting holds on funds from companies I've cashed checks before. Like, they're just dicks to me. And I realized that somebody gave me advice once. They said, oh, you have to treat banks like hookers, which does make sense. Like, that is a thing you should do. There's a lot of similarities between the two of them. Like, banks blow and hookers, obviously. Banks will burn you. Hookers burns when you pee, naturally. You get calls from hookers. You get calls from banks. Also kind of makes you sweaty and nervous. You're like, oh, this is not right. I'm in trouble here. And a bad credit rating, like herpes, stays with you for life. So what I figured out, I'm now going to use words to try to convince you that a better investment than putting your money into a bank will be putting your money into a hooker. Okay? I will try to endeavor to do this. For this analogy, the hooker is the bank, and the deposit is your penis. Which makes a lot of sense, because your penis, I find, is a lot like my bank balance. I always wish there was more than there was. And I really got to figure out how to invest that thing properly. Get better payoff that thing. You know? I waited for like a few minutes there without fucking it up. Oh, banks. Here's the thing about banks, which you may not know. This is actually true. When you put money into a bank, it's no longer your money. Because it's not doing anything for you. It's the bank's money. You know what they do with that money? They can lend out 10 times the sum of that money, earn 10 times the interest on that. That's not your money at that point. Really. Unless, like a hooker, she's not getting 10 times the value out of your penis. Really. I mean, if she was able to do that, you probably don't need to get a hooker. You could even expand or something? I don't even know what happened there. There's a point to this. It is not your money. In fact, after you are with a hooker, you probably left her worse off than she was. Like just a fraction of an inch, right? Like you just kind of expanded that a little bit. Like she's not as valuable anymore. Right? You're not with me on this. Think of it this way. Would you rather be a hooker's first client or her last client? It's not a hooker murder joke. Don't turn on me. Well, I'm going to guarantee this. No. I'm I'm just saying, that's a happy hooker retirement joke. You don't want to be the retirement party guy. You want to be the first guy out of there. Not that I would have first-hand experience, of course. Also, a hooker, when she puts a hold on your deposit, it's a good thing. You know? No, this is actually quite nice. You can even pick which account, like checking, savings, mouth, okay. Gone too far there. With a hooker, also this is true, this I hate it so much. There's no hidden fees with a hooker. The money on the dresser is the money on the dresser. End of conversation. Right? Like your bank will charge you your money to withdraw your money, which is horrible. That's the worst thing ever. That's like a hooker charging you a toonie to touch yourself. Like, no, can I not? No, that'll cost you extra. I guess you can do your thing then. All right. Banks deny loan applications. Hookers shouldn't, certainly. I know sometimes they have, but that would be a shitty hooker. Like, oh no, I'm not going to sleep with you. You bounced a thing on Rogers last month. Don't do that. The big one of the big ones is reproduction. In a bank, of course, your money grows. With a hooker, you could grow another human, of course, which is dangerous, which is ironic because then that would drain your bank. Kind of interesting. And the big one, the one I'll end up on here, is like with a hooker, of course, you can catch, there's the possibility of the disease thing. And that is true, absolutely. But your money can kind of catch a disease, like it can go down. Like, okay, yes, you could catch a disease with a hooker, but technically, Mitt Romney could get elected. Stay with me. If that happens, just cash out your accounts because you're going to need that money for kindling, I think. That's all that it's going to be worth. And that was my new 5 minutes. Thanks very much for listening. And I fixed this. I want credit for this shit. Look at this. This was a mess, and now, hey, there we go. It's going to be stolen by the end of the night. Thanks, Jeff. Side note, quick sidebar. Why don't they move the towns closer to the wells? No, okay, I don't want to sound ignorant or anything, and I understand that the wells are... Week 17 of 260 Minutes I'm fairly happy with. I'm a little surprised the beats that I thought they'd respond to in the bank chunk, they didn't, and the beats that I didn't think they'd like at all, they did. So I guess that's happened before, obviously. I'm going to try to work and make it all good. I like the central premise of it. It is true as far as I know, and I think that has legs. And I'll maybe try starting more sets with a bit of riffing. It is material that can maybe become something in the future.